Welcome out to another week of working on this planter. So it is actually the middle of the week. I wasn't here for the first 2 days, Monday or Tuesday. So they were doing a little bit of work on this. So I'll show what they filmed. They did film a little bit. I'll show what they filmed right here.
Good morning, guys. I got this out of this planter here. These two bearings here are bad. Now I got to get these shafts off. So this is what comes over here. Bearings bolt right there, and then back there you can see that shaft hanging down right there between the discs. That's where it hooks up to run the fans. But both these bearings right here are bad and loose, so I've got to get at least one of these shafts off so I can get these bearings off, but we'll see how that goes. Well, there's the new bearings put on. Hopefully they'll last me all planting. Wasn't too bad. It's much easier than the old style, like on the old planter we're getting rid of. It has a big housing that the bearing puts in. It's a lot harder to get set.
What we have going on now is they've already done this side. So we have to space this planter out because it was set to 34-inch spacing. And that's the space between this where it drops the potato and then right here where it drops the potato between the rows. So what they had to do is this outside row, we had to move this whole row unit, this whole thing from here. The bin stayed in the same spot, but from here down, had to move that whole thing over 6 inches, as well as this tire. We had to move this tire over. But we had to move all of that over. This one only had to move 3 inches, and the next one only had to move 1 inch over because, yeah, they were 34 inches, so the inside two just had to go an inch each way. But they've moved this tire and these 3 bins and that tire, but we haven't moved the other side. So that's what we're working on right now, is we are unbolting and loosening, and we gotta start at the outside, move the outside out, bolt it up tight, then do the inside or the middle one, and then do this one, and just we have to start from the outside and work our way in. We also have to move the tires too as we get there. Yeah, it's a big job, but it's not. I mean, I wasn't here, but I thought it was going to take way longer to move these, but the fact that they did it in 2 days must not have been that terrible. We do have some, these are called porta power. They're like hydraulic jacks, and they can have different attachments and stuff. Like there's like spreading attachments and different feet and rams and extensions and stuff. So they use those to kind of pry and push the row unit. We just loosen the bolts, push it over until it's in the right spot, and then bolt it back on. Okay, well, we got this one moved. You can see the nice rusty spot where it was sitting. Had to move it about 6 inches, maybe a little more than 6 inches, but we lined it up, and you can't see right here if I put it right here. So that front tire right there is the depth wheel, and this tire has to be right even with that depth wheel. So this will be right in between the two rows, this row and then the row on the other side. So We moved it over. We actually didn't have to move the fan. They were smart enough when they built this thing that there's a second hole in this bracket. So there's a hole right there and right there. So we just put the bolt from that outside hole into this next hole. It lined right up. So we didn't have to move the fan, which is good because then we don't have to move the bin, and it's hooked up there with the air and everything. So that's nice. We didn't have to do that. Also because there's a drive line that goes and hooks to the bottom right here. This drive line right here is what runs the fan. So if we had to move it, we'd have to move that too. Now we just have bin, another tire, another bin, and then we should be good.
You can try to put...
We have to drop the drive line out, or the drive shaft out. So that's what we're keep working on. Basically, you're gonna have to pull it out that end. It's stuck. It's stuck between this stuff. Hey, there's a new chair. You like that, huh? Yeah, you don't park afraid, so you know. If you can lift it and slide it a little bit, it might, if you can get just past that arm, it might drop down. Okay, go. Finger. You're close. Here, grab your neck. Got it. Oh, we need a bigger shop.
Yep.
Then we could have just pulled it out the end.
Well, we could be working on more than just this.
We are now in the process of sliding one of the bin segments. So there's different row units, I guess is what they're called. And we're gonna try and move this. We have this porta power here. Trevor's got the pumpy over here. And you just stick it in there and pump away.
Okay.
Yep.
And hopefully slide the whole
There you go, Josh.
hopefully slide the whole unit nicely.
Okay. Hold up, Trevor.
Hopefully it does. Is it moving?
Oh yeah. Hold on, you popped out.
I was just gonna say, hopefully it doesn't pop off this bolt that we have it wedged on.
Well, I don't. You saying the last one you put down in there?
Yeah, we put it down in. Get that whole bracket off.
Up here in the front, Josh has another porta power to move the front as we move the back. Because the front has a lot more. This is where the whole everything happens. You got the big bracket where the discs and everything hook on, so we have to slide that whole thing over. But they got to move a bracket in the back so they can get the porta power in a little bit better.
Like the hydraulic.
Okay, these guys are pumping on this end. I'm gonna go around the front so I can see a little better because it's just Josh up here and I don't have a big gorilla in the way. Going. Working pretty good. Okay, we got this one moved. It's in just the right spot. We were looking, there's these holes in the bin and we had to line up with that hole. So that's right where it has to go. So Trevor crawled up in there. We got to put all the bolts back in and get this one tightened down. And then we'll go to the next one, slide that one over. This one had to move 5 inches. That one has to move 3 inches. And the next one has to move 1 inch. So we got to go and process step by step. Well, Josh and Trevor had to go. So me and Christopher are going to try and get this row unit slid over. Just the two of us. So we're gonna be one in the front, one in the back. So I'm gonna put this on time lapse. You can watch us do it. gonna get done on this today and this week because we're going out of town to Island Park to go play in the snow. On some snow machines, I'm gonna take the side-by-side and show you guys that. I'll take you guys with me for a little bit. But next week we're gonna pull this, well, it'll still be in here, but we got a lot of work to continue to do on this. We have to continue spacing these things out. And we have a whole bunch of stuff. We have the drive line to put on. We have to move the fan. Man, there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done on this. But we have 2 other planters we got to get done. We also have our grain drill that we got to get done. So we have a lot of stuff to do. And the weather looks like it's going to be above 40 degrees every single day. So we're going to get an early spring, looks like, and we might be in the field hauling manure and planting grain in about 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do, but I'll see you in Island Park. All right, guys, what's up? We are out here at Island Park, and behind me, we have the side-by-side with the tracks on it. Now, I haven't been able to use it as much this year as I was hoping because, well, we didn't get that long of winter. It was really, there was a lot of warm days and the snow hasn't been super great, but we're up here. They have plenty of snow out here and it's been kind of warm, so it's packed pretty good. Normally, I would not try and drive out here because it's really deep. It's like 4 feet deep, but it's pretty packed. So we're gonna give it a shot. And I thought I might as well bring you guys along. We'll clamp you on the side of this thing and let you see kind of how it does. Now, I don't have the cover on the, I don't have the cover on the sides because it's not super, it's like 40 degrees. So it has definitely warmed up a lot. Hopefully we don't get stuck. Machine started. Yeah, the snow's pretty deep when you just walk around. I sink about up to my knee. Hopefully we don't get stuck. This is terrible. Because I don't have a winch. All in all, I'm pretty impressed with this thing. It did a lot better than I was expecting because I know it can go through about 1 foot to 2 feet, maybe 3 feet of powder, but this is like 4 feet or more. But luckily it's got a really good base, so it went really good. But I'm not gonna bore you guys with all of this stuff. Here's some footage of Christopher on his snow machine.
Some rocks. Both drop.
Well, the cabin was fun, but now we got to get back to work. So we have a few things left to do to this. We have to get the tool carrier back on, and we have to put all the shafts and stuff back on, because we had to take the drive shafts and stuff off when we were spacing it out. So we have to put all that back on, which we're still waiting for some bearings, so we don't quite have all the parts. But ideally, we can get this thing put back together this week so that we can get it out of here, because we have to get the other two planters in. We also have to get all of our manure trucks in and service all those before spring really ramps up, because it looks like we may be hauling manure in about 3 weeks. So we gotta really get rolling here. We finally got the new hexagon shaft that goes right here, so we're putting that on. And we wouldn't have needed this shaft, but there was a whole bunch hanging out. See this piece hanging out right here? There was a whole bunch hanging out, so we cut it off. And that was before we knew we needed to space this out. If we would have known we would have had to space it and not cut that off, we'd be fine. But we have a new shaft now, so we're just in the process of getting it all bolted back together. Well, now we have to get the fan put back on over here after we use everything. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse for a minute. Okay, well, after some finagling, we got everything lined up. Trevor's tightening up that hose right there that hooks up to the fan. Christopher's looking for a few bolts, and I'm still in the process of plugging these little hoses. There's a little hose on the back of each one of these that we had to cut off, so we are getting there. You got that all tightened up, Trevor?
Yep.
Okay, should be good. Not everything lines up exactly perfect. I wish it would, but it just never does.
Yeah, let's put one more.
So the next thing we're working on, Trevor's been wire wheeling the shaft because we have to take, if Christopher will stop making noise, we have to take all these bearings off because these bearings are, well, they're not in the right spot and they're kind of rough. So we're just going to replace that bearing and this bearing with new bearings. Now there's a shaft on the other side. Trevor's down there underneath, but we just put the shaft back up in there. So we got this shaft in. We had to slide the bearings over a little bit, each bearing. And we got everything slid over and put on. Now we're just trying to get it tightened down and ready to go. Get the belt back on. That's the bearing down in there that we had to move. So we are getting there. Slowly but surely, one piece at a time, we are putting this thing back together. Now we're taking the bearings. We just took this bearing off. These bearings, that one might be good, but that one's definitely bad. Christopher stuck a punch through it. So we got to get these bearings off. We have 2 new bearings we're going to put on. See if we can get it. We're in the process of moving this bearing. Now currently the bearing is good. We only have to move it an inch. We just have to move it an inch. Now if Christopher hits the wrong spot, then it'd be bad. Then we have to move it the whole shaft. So don't break it. Okay, we got the shaft put back on this side right there. Now we are putting the shield on so that then we can put all this pulley and stuff back on. I'm gonna pop you guys onto a time lapse so you can watch us do it. But the problem is now is that this is hitting on this. So this actually is supposed to move, but it doesn't. It's supposed to swing. So it is a little bent, but we can adjust this bolt here and this bolt here to kind of tweak it around.
It's turning.
So we'll get it in a little bit. Then we have to put that big pulley on this shaft and get it all lined up and put the belt on. Got this on and it's all closed up, ready to go. Now we're putting these brackets on that hold the tool carrier. The tool carrier is just this square pipe down here. So that's the tool carrier. We have one bracket that we left on there, and when we moved everything we had to take the rest of them off. So we're putting the tool carrier brackets back on there, and then we're going to buy a drag bar, which is basically just a Schedule 80 well pipe. We're going to hang it from those to just level off the hills and make sure our depth's the same. But that's what we're working on now. Putting all these U-bolts in, holding these brackets up, bolting it on.
Alright, get me in the hole on the bottom. And I can tap it off.
See if these guys can line it up. Is the U-bolt sprung a little bit?
Probably.
Let's get some loose.
So we'll get this on and one step closer to being done. We do have to take this little grab bar off. We got a bin extension that's gonna bolt on, but we gotta take that grab bar off. That's gonna be kind of a pain. But that's one thing, we're still waiting for parts for a few things. We got the tool carrier on. So now we have a hole right here that needs to be filled because we spaced these out so they're wider than the pieces that used to go there. So the pieces that used to go there are these black pieces, but they're too narrow. So we have a parts machine back in the back that has these wider ones, and they're not specifically for this one, but we're thinking we can put them in there and just weld them in because the bolt holes aren't even there for these. But we're thinking we can at least go get them, sit them down in here, weld them in, and then that'll be one less thing that we have to buy. So we're gonna run out behind the cellars and we're gonna see if we can find enough of them to make this thing a complete machine. All right, well, sorry if it's a little windy out here. I forgot the windscreen, but this is our parts machine. We don't really care about anything but the little pieces in the bottom of this bin. We have to get all this other stuff out of the bin so that we can get to these brackets in the bottom. We'll see if he can get this out without us having to chain it. I think he can get it. Oh, he got it out. So what we need are these pieces right here. Kind of mangled.
Like a freaking ball in a china closet with that thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we need right there. Good thing we don't need very many parts off of this thing. It's gonna be a little mangled by the time we're done with it. Holy crap! Watch out! Definitely not the most finesse we've ever had.
I can't wait for the comments on this. It's gonna be fun!
Alright. Now...
I'll fix that at the moment.
Yeah, now we gotta just get all these little pieces out. Not these ones, but the ones that go down in the bottom. Just gotta grab this little jobby and throw it in. Ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to come back.
We just have to do a little bit of straightening on this one. It got a little mangled. Custom made.
That's right.
Okay, we got some stuff flattened out. We just straightened out this little bevel here. This one we're just going to cut off and then we're going to weld it in. But those should cover the corners or the ends of the bin where there's a hole. We got a lot done today. We still have a little bit more to do, so I will snap you guys to tomorrow just like this. Okay, we're back. Next day. We got Josh here today with us and Christopher's gone. Christopher will be here this afternoon. So We just found out that there is a semi stuck down at one of our cellars. They're taking potatoes out, so we have to go, I don't know, take the backhoe down and pull them out. So that's where we're headed, and then we'll come back and work on this. We're also going to check our potato cellars because we haven't checked them in about a week or so. So we're gonna go check all our potato cellars this morning too. Got the yanking ropes loaded up. Josh just took off with the loader. We're gonna head down there and see what we got. All right, well, just pulled in. It's like he's not even loaded. So Josh is over there pushing some of the water. It is very muddy down here, so it makes sense that he got stuck. But we're gonna get him pulled out, and then we're gonna leave our loader down here. So if they get stuck again, they can at least have something out here to pull them out. Well, looks like we're gonna have to use a chain. He's not super stuck, just spinning, so there was really nowhere we couldn't get the shackle in around this thing, so there you go. It's just this bog hole. We'll get this hole scraped out once we get him out of the way. Well, while Josh is gonna scrape this out, me and Trevor will go check these cellars right here and see how they look. We'll see how it looks in here where they're taking them out too. Hello. Humidicell's working.
Yep.
I'll go walk down this one. It's like I'm in a haunted house with that flashing light down there. We'll go walk back here. You can barely see it because you're on the GoPro, and GoPros don't do great in low light. But you can see there is some water on the floor. So there is a little bit of moisture. We just don't want it to get super wet in here. I'll go climb up the top and see what it looks like. Moment of truth. Hey, those look good. They are still a little bit damp. But man, this side was really wet. So yeah, those look dry on top. They look really nice. Let's go out here. Yeah, these all look really nice and dry on top. That's what we want. We don't want water on the ceiling and it's dry. Those look really good. Let's go see what Trevor said the other side looked like. Here's the other side. They're taking the potatoes out right now. So this is how they take them out. There's a truck. There's a scoop. This is a scooper. And then this is like a little expandable conveyor. And it just hooks up to the piler, and this is how they load them up. Just scoops into the pile. These potatoes look really good. We'll go over here in a minute and get a little bit better view. Show you the scooper. I gotta make sure I stay out of the way so I don't get smushed. Not a whole lot of room here. Just left Josh at those cellars. He's still pushing mud. We're gonna go check these other two cellars that are a little bit further away, and then we'll come back and pick them up. And hopefully these cellars look good because they have the worst air systems of any of the cellars that we have. So we're gonna go check them out. Okay, let's go in here and see how these look. We were a little worried about these because, well, all the snow melted. And yeah, these cellars don't seal up. You can see right here, water definitely ran in and kind of ponded right here in the front. So we're a little worried that that is the case where they might be not so great. They don't look terrible though. They do look pretty good. Since it is getting a little bit warmer outside, there's not as much risk of it freezing. But this just, I mean, they're definitely shrinking. You can see they're a little wrinkly. We need to get some air flowing in here for sure. Even if we had to turn this system on manual, we need to get some air flowing. It's about, I mean, it's a good temperature. We just need to get the fan on. Well, that one could definitely be a little bit better. The front of that pile got really cold and kind of froze. So the potatoes right on the front are a little squishy because they froze. So hopefully it doesn't go bad, but I think when we looked further up the pile, and the further up looked really good. So we're gonna go in this cellar and give it a gander. Have some fans set up. This one actually stayed a little bit warmer than the other one. What's the temperature at?
48, 46.
So the temperature's not too bad. This one didn't get quite as cold. We got some fans set up in here. Yeah, this one didn't get quite as cold, so the front of the pile isn't. They're a little wrinkly just because of the shrink. Because if they get too dry, they shrink a little bit. So they have a little bit of wrinkles on there. Not too bad though, but they're not soft. They're wrinkly, but they're not squishy. So we got one fan way up there, and then this fan right here just to help recirculate, because this one doesn't even have an air tunnel. It's got these pipes that run through the middle. So hopefully it stays good. We don't want any of our cellars going rotten again. We had one cellar go rotten last year and it was a nightmare. Now we are back, so I'm gonna go. We're gonna start checking all these cellars. Just gotta make sure the temperature's good, make sure that the potatoes look okay, and that's about it. If something's wrong, then we'll do some adjustments. So let's go in here and see what this one looks like. So it's got lots of little flies in it. About one load out of here, but you can see up there on the top there are some sprouts right there. That is not great. Temperature seems to be holding. That's good. That one is hard to get up on top of because it's so close to the ceiling, so I might have to actually go get my drone and fly over the top to check it. But we're gonna go in this one. There's a little bit of water here. It might have run into the tunnel. I know we had some in the air tunnel. So I'm gonna check this one, see what it looks like. Wash my boots off. Temperatures look good. Look in here and see if it's full of water. Yeah, there's water in there. There's about 4 inches of water in here. Granted, right here is lower. It is on the humidicell, which looks like we've turned off because it's dry. But it goes up a ramp on the other side. So this water is not going to get into the potatoes, so that's okay. It will eventually dry up. But checking the front of the pile, looks pretty good. It smells fine in here, so I can't smell anything rotting. And they all look pretty good. It's the right temperature and the potatoes all look pretty good. Because of all that water, I can't go walk up the back because of all the water. So let me actually look in here. See, there's a light switch. Where's the light switch? Oh, you can see down the tunnel. Can't really see in here though. I turned my flashlight on, you can barely see, but I think there is enough room I can jump over and go check it. So let's actually walk down here and we'll go check the potatoes. This one has a nice big door, but it has a really short ladder, so I can't get to the very top. But they look good. They do look a little bit dry, so I'll probably turn some humidity on. But as far as the potatoes, they look really good. They're not even shrinking. So that's good. One thing we wish these heaters were working. Once the potatoes get out, we're gonna have to replace these heaters. We can't really do anything about it right now. All right, I'm gonna go back and turn the humidity on and go check the next one. Another thing that we like to check is in the pipes. So we like to see a little bit of water in the bottom of these pipes. And we also like the floor to be a little bit wet. And we've had the humidity and the climate cell off long enough in this cellar that it is bone dry. So I'm gonna make sure to turn all that on. Humidity on, auto, turn it on. Now I'm in the next cellar, just turn the fans off. I'm gonna walk down and see how it looks. Climate cell's been working. I'll show you the other side, the better light. It's nice and wet, how it should be. Let's go check the cellar. Well, I just got right here in the tunnel. I mean, we're not putting a whole lot of water in, or yeah, not putting a whole lot of water in. Humidity's off. But I look down here, in here, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's clear full of water, which is not good, which means we have a pond in the cellar, which worries me, because if there's a pond in the cellar, that means all the snow that's been melting has just been running into the cellar. So it does smell a little bad right here, but I'm gonna go up on top and check and see how the potatoes look on top. The potatoes up here on top look good. They're dry on top, they look nice. You just gotta figure out why there's so much water in that tunnel. But the fan, the heater is still working, which is good. So that's what keeps this from getting wet. So, and it doesn't stink. So that's good. I'm gonna go check the next cellar. Now I'm walking down the tunnel of our nicest cellar. See how it looks. Get to the back here. See if there's any water in these pipes. Nothing in there. But these things are still spinning. These are the humidifiers. It spins like that and makes a little fog in here. It looks like they've been working because there's puddles on the floor. So that's good. We don't want them to get too dry. Well, these ones look really good too. As they should, because this is our best cellar. But everything's on, everything's running. I don't see these, I don't hear these fans or heaters running, but they don't seem to be wet, so that's good. So looks like we've got a few small issues that I need to brainstorm with the guys and see what the best way to solve the issues would be. I got this lovely muck to walk through back to the shop, but we'll go back to the shop and see what we should do about these cellars. So I'm in our A-frame, our #1 cellar, that's what we call it. And I've got my drone. This cellar, when I was checking it earlier, it doesn't smell very good in here. Now, I can't tell if it's the smart block sprout nip that we used earlier in the year, or if it is a rotten spot. In this cellar, the potatoes are so close to the ceiling that you can't really walk over the top of it. But what I can do is I can fly my drone over the top and I can look in my little screen here to see if there's any rotten spots or if like the potatoes are like dipping. Usually if there's a big dip, that means there's rotten. They're decomposing and it's sinking. So I'm going to get this up in the air and we're gonna fly it across the top of this pile. Now the plan is to not crash. Definitely some sprouts. Oh dear. That is not good. Well, that's not good at all. That's really bad. That's a rotten spot. We have a rotten spot in this cellar. Let's keep going and see if we have any more rotten spots. That one looks like it's fairly close to the front. So if they came and took some potatoes out, they would only have to take out maybe the first third to get that rotten spot out. There are a lot of sprouts. They're only about, the biggest one I can see is maybe 4 to 6 inch sprout. Didn't crash my drone. We do have a rotten spot, so I'm gonna get cruising back and we'll go talk to the boss and see what he says. Got it. All right, well, after flying the drone, go back here in the shop and see what these guys are up to. Trevor is inside welding these brackets in.
He's practicing welding.
He's practicing welding. He's not very good at it.
Hey, it sounds good.
But they just cover these gaps. It does sound good, except for he's about to melt the electrical box right there.
What?
He's like an inch from the wires right there.
Yeah, that's all I got weld right there.
Whatever that wire is, it was red hot an inch from it. That big orange wire. Basically, we have these gaps like this from where we widened it. So we have these old shields, these, and we're just putting them over the gap because they're wider, and we're welding them in. Trevor can do a good job. Trevor he's got these ones done, this one and this one. He's getting the end one put on. So we're putting the bolts in, then we're gonna weld the top because the other piece doesn't really fit. So I'm gonna put you on time lapse, you can check it out. Trevor just got done welding. This is probably one of the sketchier ways we've had our welder set up. The leads didn't reach, so we put the whole welding thing on this little four-wheeler stand and lifted it up to give us a few more feet of leads. All right, Trevor had to go. So it's my turn to get inside this thing, and I gotta weld this. He got all these other plates welded in, and he got that side done. We just have to put in this one end plate, this big black plate goes on the end here, but they don't really make it easy to stand in here. I feel like everywhere I step is gonna break my ankle, so let me get adjusted here and I'll start putting this in, or at least attempt to. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you're not getting bored with all of the potato planter content, because this is what we've been doing. I've been trying to throw in a little bit of different stuff like cellars and playing in the snow. So trying to mix it up a little bit, make it not so much just potato planters, but we're doing our best. We are trying to get ready to plant potatoes here in probably a month and a half. So I'm gonna try and get situated and get this welded in. I think I've got it in place, but I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse while I put this all together. I got it done. Wasn't too bad. Welds look pretty good. Now I used to do a ton of welding. I don't do as much welding anymore because ever since I got COVID like 2 years ago, I get very much welding smoke and I just cough for weeks. So I don't do as much welding anymore as I used to. I used to do almost all the welding, but now I've kind of turned a lot of it over to Christopher and Trevor and Josh. So I weld when they're not here. But Christopher is here. He's right there. He's got the grinder for me. I got to cut these bolts off right here because they're kind of sticking out. But I can still weld pretty good even though I haven't done it as much. I just got to cut off some bolts. Easy peasy. Now this is one of the last things we have to do on this. We're just reattaching the John Blue pump because, well, we had it on here once, but that was before we had to space everything out. So we had to cut it off, space everything out, and now we put it back on. Now Christopher is welding it on, and then we can hook all the hoses back up. And then the only other thing we got to do is put the little bin extension on the top, and then this one is done.
Drag pipe.
Oh yeah, we gotta get a drag pipe for the back. But we don't have to do that right now, we can do that later. Gotta weld all these. We've cut these braces off so many times that it keeps getting shorter.
You cut my hose off.
Yeah, we'll have to refix that hose.
We might have to adjust the tension on this too.
Yeah. But we made this so you just loosen these up and you can slide this back and forth, because sometimes we have to switch these little sprockets to change how the flow rate. And when you change the sprocket, you have to be able to move this to tension that chain. Got it. We got all of them on, except for that one, because Trevor decided to break the valve in half, and so we can't put it on. It's right here.
Gave me a little side eye.
He just snapped it right off, trying to get the hose off. We also heated this up and got this piece put back on. This goes up to that tank, so that's what supplies the fertilizer to all of this stuff. And then 2 of these go down to every row. But we got this done. Trevor just said that he found a new little valve, so we'll be able to put this on in a minute. But we got this all done. The only thing that we don't have is the drag bar and the extension for the top. But we're gonna see if we can get the extension tomorrow. The drag bar only takes maybe 30 minutes to put on, so we'll probably worry about that later. And yeah, this one might be about done. All right guys, well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below, hit subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you hit that like button to join the RMF club. Comment RMF down in the comments to join the RMF club. We have sent out stickers to a couple people already, so we will pick somebody out of each video, a random comment, to send stickers to. We might be getting a form to join the RMF club, so that way it's a lot less hassle to actually get people's information, but we'll let you know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. we are done with this planter, almost. We'll probably be pulling this out in the next couple days. And I love you. I'll see you in the next one.